On December 2, 1959, the Malpassé Dam in Fréjus, France, catastrophically failed. The entire structure crumbled, releasing a massive wall of water that rushed down the valley at 43 miles per hour, 70 kilometers per hour. The wave was 130 feet high and so powerful it pushed a 20-ton block of concrete over a mile. It obliterated the town of Fréjus, killing 423 people in just 20 minutes. The disaster was attributed to a geological fault in the rock base that was undetected during construction, making it one of the worst civil engineering failures of the 20th century. Walt Disney died on December 15, 1966, from complications of lung cancer. Shortly before his death, he scribbled a few words on a piece of paper. The last thing he ever wrote was the name Kurt Russell. At the time, Russell was a child actor under contract with the Disney studio, but he had no personal relationship with Disney and was not a major star. Russell himself has expressed bafflement over the incident for decades, having no idea why his name would be the final notation from one of the most famous men in the world. A strange pattern of tragedy has afflicted actors associated with the role of Superman. George Reeves' 1950s TV series died from a gunshot wound ruled self-harm. Christopher Reeve was paralyzed in a horseback riding accident and later died. Lee Quigley, who played Baby Superman, died of solvent abuse at 14. Dean Cain's career failed to skyrocket post-Lois and Clark. Brandon Lee, who was considered for the role, died on the set of The Crow. This pattern has led to persistent rumors of a curse on the Man of Steel, a dark shadow behind the symbol of hope. Allied pilots in the European and Pacific theaters during World War II reported seeing strange aerial phenomena, fast-moving, glowing balls of light that would fly near their aircraft. They were dubbed Foo Fighters. Both Allied and Axis pilots reported them, and they were initially feared to be a secret enemy weapon. Investigations concluded they were neither a weapon nor hallucinations, but their origin was never determined. Modern theories suggest they could have been electromagnetic phenomena, ball lightning, or St. Elmo's fire. But they remain an official mystery of the war. In 1897, in Greenbrier County, West Virginia, Zona Heaster Shue was found dead. Her death was quickly ruled a natural childbirth complication by a doctor who was not allowed to fully examine the body. Her mother, Mary Jane Heaster, claimed Zona's ghost visited her 4 nights in a row, twisting its head to reveal that her husband, Erasmus Shue, had murdered her by breaking her neck. Pressured by the widespread story, the prosecutor exhumed the body and found the neck vertebrae were indeed crushed. Shue was convicted of murder, making this one of the only cases where spectral testimony was a key factor in a trial. In the 19th century, consumption, tuberculosis, ravaged families, its contagious nature misunderstood. Some New England communities, particularly in Rhode Island and Connecticut, believed the deceased were draining the life from living relatives. To stop these vampires, families would exhume bodies. If they appeared fresh, a natural part of decomposition in sealed coffins, the heart and liver would be burned, and the ashes sometimes fed to sick family members. The most famous case is that of Mercy Brown in 1892, whose father performed this ritual in a desperate, futile attempt to save his remaining family. A persistent legend in Cave Creek, Arizona, claims the town possesses a physical deed to the soul of a man named David Talacht. The story goes that in the 1880s, Talacht, a miner, lost his soul to the town's founder in a poker game. A deed was humorously drafted to formalize the transaction. Over the decades, as the town's property changed hands, the novelty deed was included in the sale for a few dollars. The framed document is still kept as a quirky, if dark, historical artifact, symbolizing the town's colorful and eccentric past. On November 22, 1987, the broadcast of WGN-TV's Doctor Who in Chicago was hijacked for over 90 seconds. A person wearing a Max Headroom mask appeared on screen, accompanied by distorted audio and nonsensical rambling. The signal intrusion was sophisticated, requiring a powerful transmitter and knowledge of engineering. Later that night, a similar, shorter intrusion hit PBS affiliate WTTW. The perpetrators were never identified or caught. The incident remains one of the most famous and brazen examples of broadcast piracy in television history, a bizarre prank that briefly hijacked the airwaves. In the 1930s, the Irving family on the Isle of Man claimed a talking mongoose named Geff inhabited their farm. They reported that Geff could speak in multiple languages, recite gossip he overheard from neighbors, and sing songs. He was described as being about the size of a small rat, with yellow fur and a large bushy tail. Investigators found only paw prints and heard unexplained noises. The case was likely an elaborate hoax perpetrated by the family's teenage daughter, Voire, possibly combined with poltergeist activity. But it remains a famous and bizarre chapter in the annals of the paranormal. A persistent, though potentially apocryphal story claims that in 1888, renowned Russian pianist and composer Nicholas Rubinstein attempted self-harm during a performance. The tale states that he slashed his wrists with a concealed blade mid-concert but continued playing, the blood staining the ivory keys until he collapsed from blood loss on stage. He reportedly died days later. Tullimonstrum gregarium, or the Tully monster, is a 300-million-year-old fossil found exclusively in Illinois' Mason Creek fossil beds. Its bizarre anatomy defies classification. It had a segmented torpedo-shaped body, eyes on lateral stalks, and a long, flexible proboscis, ending in a claw-like structure filled with tiny teeth. It has been variously proposed as a mollusk, an arthropod, a worm, a vertebrate, and a conodont. However, it fits neatly into no known phylum. In 2010, the Dutch cargo ship Marianne Vos was found adrift and abandoned off the coast of Australia. The engines were running, a meal was set on the table in the mess, and the crew's personal belongings were untouched. The life rafts were still securely on board. The only clue was a final cryptic log entry. Strange noises outside. No mayday call was ever issued. The 7 crew members vanished without a trace. The Yokosuka MXY-7 Oka Cherry Blossom was a rocket-powered, human-guided kamikaze aircraft used by Japan in the final year of World War II. Sailors nicknamed it the Baka Bomb, Reitsier Datebor, Kakebor, Idiot Bomb. Its design was simple, a large explosive warhead with wooden wings and a small cockpit. As it was released from its mother plane and dove towards its target at nearly 600 miles per hour, air would rush through a specially designed hole in its nose, producing a terrifying, piercing, whistling scream. The Stone of Scone, an ancient sandstone block used in the coronation of Scottish kings, was seized by Edward I of England in 1296 and placed in Westminster Abbey. On Christmas Day 1950, 4 Scottish nationalist students broke into the abbey and stole it back. During the clumsy removal, they dropped the 336-pound stone, breaking it into 2 pieces. They smuggled the pieces to Scotland, where a skilled stonemason secretly repaired it. After a massive manhunt, it was left on the altar of Arbroath Abbey in April 1951. It was officially returned to Scotland in 1996. In 1955, the merchant vessel MV Joyita was found adrift in the South Pacific, partially submerged and listing heavily. Its 25 passengers and crew were missing. The ship's clocks had stopped at 10:25 and the emergency raft was gone. A doctor's bag containing bloody bandages was on deck and the radio was tuned to the international distress frequency. Despite an extensive search, no trace of the people was ever found. Spontaneous human combustion, SHC, is a controversial and unproven phenomenon where a person is said to suddenly ignite without an external source. The most famous case is Mary Reeser, 1951, found as a pile of ashes with only 1 foot remaining, her apartment largely untouched by fire. While SHC is a myth, forensic science explains these cases via the wick effect. A small external flame, e.g. from a cigarette, ignites the victim's clothing. The body fat then melts and soaks into the clothes, acting like a candle wick, burning slowly and at a high temperature, consuming the body while leaving the surroundings relatively undamaged. In 1991, professional stunt diver Todd Shriver attempted to break a world record by diving from a 130-foot platform into a children's paddling pool filled with only 18 inches of water. The stunt, televised live, was meant to showcase a perfect, precise entry. Shriver misjudged the dive, hitting the water at a slight angle. The impact drove him into the concrete bottom, breaking his neck and severing his spinal cord. He was left a quadriplegic and died several years later from complications related to his injuries. A rat king is a rare phenomenon where a number of rats become permanently entangled by their tails, often bound by blood, dirt, ice, or feces. The largest specimen on record, found in 1828 in a miller's fireplace in Altenburg, Germany, consisted of 32 rats. Historically, these grotesque clusters were seen as extremely bad omens, often associated with plague and impending doom. While some modern specimens are believed to be hoaxes, preserved examples in museums suggest that the phenomenon, though exceedingly rare, can occur naturally, creating a single, struggling organism from many individuals.